What's up, y'all, guys and gals, ladies and lads of YouTube? It's your boy WeFox. Man, it feels good to say that again. So, real briefly, before we get into deck profile, a few minutes, I'll talk about like what I've been doing, what to expect in the near future of the channel, stuff like that. If you don't care about that, I'll have timestamps so you can jump right into the deck profile. But to those of you care, let me just give you a brief explanation. So, for the summer, I got a job offer at another city where my parents live, so I moved to live with them for a few months, and I did my summer job, and the internet there, not the greatest, so I couldn't really, unfortunately, upload or stream. I tried streaming, but no luck at all. It was awful, even with lower bitrate, and uploading videos would have taken like 17 hours or something, so I was like, yeah, screw that. So I'm finally back, but I kind of missed out on BT4. I did play physical in there, and I did play some BT4, but I'm not too bummed that I missed out on it. I think the format was honestly a bit boring, in my opinion. D-Brigade, kind of fun, and I did make a Blastmon deck, just because it was, Blastmon was like, I think $2 when I ordered a playset. It was $2 for each, so it was like super cheap, and I was getting most of the cards for this deck that I'm going to show you. Anyway, so I was just like, yeah, might as well. But now we're in BT5, and BT5 and BT6, which is the next set we're getting, are like they're the GOAT sets in my opinion, so I'm super excited to be playing now. I've been playing physical, I've been playing online, so it's a great format. I love it so much. EX1, the Boromon stuff is cool, and Imperial players rejoice, and then BT7 is just all hybrid stuff, which, you know, it's cool, but I'm not as hyped for it as BT5 or BT6, so I definitely think we're in like the golden era, at least for now, of Digimon, in my opinion, for now. But definitely those sets will be dope too, and I will have deck profiles coming out. That's the other thing. So near future, expect a lot of deck profiles for Digimon, especially for BT5 and BT6 now. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So let's jump right into the deck profile. So let's hop right in here. Bada bing. Alright, so we're in DigimonCard.dev, and we're gonna be talking about some cards. So I'll just give you a brief explanation, then I'll break down the cards individually and the deck, and finally at the end I'll be talking about a few BT6 cards, because I think they are quite impactful for this deck in particular. So first and foremost, the deck is an OTK deck. So the best way I can describe it is, think of the love child of Blastmon and Ulforce. Like, literally mash those two together and you get this. But let's jump right into the cards. So for Digitama, we're only playing for Kapurimon Reboot, so the booster Kapurimon. If you want to throw in a fifth egg, you can throw in the starter deck Kapurimon, the one that gives you 1000 if you have blocker, since spoiler alert, Zubacon Punch, which is what we're using. Big surprise, OTK black deck. Zubacon Punch also gives blocker as well as reboot, so for the most part, when you're swinging, it doesn't matter, you are gonna get the boost either way, so you can throw in a fifth of him. But because the deck is a Ulforce like setup OTK deck, I rarely cycle through my eggs like every other turn, and I tend to keep Digimon in the raising area for a few turns, even sometimes, so it's not really needed. The initial proto build of this even played Yoshino Fueda, because I was afraid of running through my eggs, but still to this day it has never happened once, so 4 Kapurimon is plenty enough. But that deck serves basically the same purpose, so if you want to, you can throw it in there. Then for the rookies, which is the most flexible slot, these you can play around with. The first thing I'm running is 3 Digimon. I think Digimon is just one of the better hard call rookies, especially in black, because it's a blocker and it actually comes in clutch quite a bit. I kind of have been pondering bumping this up to 4, but 3 has felt pretty good, so 3 is still fine. Then for Toyagumon, arguably still the best egg for rookie for black. Just gives reboot as an inheritable effect, and due to us running the Capurmon reboot boosting eggs, our main dude, which is the promo BlackWarGreymon, actually needs that to be pushed through the threshold for activating Zubagon Punch. So that's what we're running for of him. Then 2 Sonarismon for the Digiburst one. The reason for this over Vanillas, which by the way is the Vanilla, so Hagurumon, Commandramon, you can run those as well here. They work real well. But the reason why I like Sonarismon over them is that thanks to the inheritable, so when you trash this card due to a Digiburst, return it to your hand. And the reason for this is I am running a slightly lower rookie count. I think the golden ratio for Digimon decks, for the most part, is 14, 11, 9, 6, and 2. Or 3. Obviously, everything depends on the build and how many options or tamers you need. But I think that's like, if I had to say the golden ratio, that's probably it. And the reason why I'm running Sonarismons is because I'm running a slightly lower rookie count. I can then reuse these, and also quite often I might be 1 attack short or just need to set up for the next turn to actually win the game. So it's nice that you can just use your Digiburst, return this to your hand, and then hard call that and have another attacker for the next turn. But like I said, this slot, I think this is like the most flexible slot. If you want to play Vanillas here, you can. And then finally, the other, which I think is a contestant for the new best egg for black, the promo Sonarismon, which is the only card that I'm still lacking to be able to play this deck in real life, because this card is still quite hard to come by, and when I do find it, it's super expensive. So anyways, the promo Sonarismon on field gives during your turn all of your black Digimon with 13k or more DP piercing, which is incredible for obviously an attack based OTK deck. And then as the inheritable, if this Digimon is black and has 13k DP or more, it gains security attack +1. So definitely, like, everything about this just screams Zubagon Punch decks, and it's overall just quite generic and really powerful. So definitely the best rookie in this deck, and I think you need 4 of him. But those were the rookies. Like I said, you can play around with them. One BT6 card I'll be talking about in the end is is a rookie that I think will play a big role in this deck. So I'll be talking about that a bit later. But let's move on to the champions. For the champions, we're just playing the cheapest stuff, because black for this deck, you don't really have any too incredible champions. So I'm just playing all the 1-cost evolutions. So Numemon, that can also be hard call for a rookie cost. Tankmon, which is a slightly worse Numemon because it costs more, and I don't value the DP as highly. Numemons can actually be used kind of like these Sonarismons to just hard call and set up for the finish if you're just a bit off. And then obviously the arguably one of the best card archetypes still in Digimon, the 6/1 level 4 blockers. So this can serve as a blocker if you need to, or you can just use it to jump through the evolution line for just 1. So the only level 4 that Black has that could be run instead of some of these is the Greymon that gives rebooters jamming, but because we're swinging with Zubagon Punch, we're never dying to security Digimon anyways, unless you're playing like for some reason security Digimon buffing deck. Which I have never seen, so yeah, I think that's kind of redundant. And then that's pretty much it for the champions, so just play the cheapest stuff to jump through the evolution line as quickly as possible. And then moving into the ultimates, we have 4 copies of BlackWarGreymon, so if your Digimon has reboot, security at +1 as an inheritable, and it itself has reboot, which rarely comes up since for a deck so reliant on setting up your level 6s, it's even if it has reboot, swing with 7k into, or sorry, 8k into security is quite, still like quite risky. But this can be swung into stuff like blockers if need be. But the biggest thing is just giving the extra tick of damage from the inheritable. Then the ultimate that we run at 4 is Gogmamon, so main, you can Digiburst 1 and give one of your Digimon plus 2000 DP until then if your opponent's next turn. This effect rarely comes up. It can be used as a win more if you somehow manage to set up a full level 6 that sticks as well as a Gogma. But mainly it's there for the all turns the Digimon gets 1000 DP, which is very important in this deck actually because of the promo BlackWarGrey. And then because from testing, 8 ultimates just always seems to brick me. I like to run 9, I just threw in 1 Black Gogmamon. This is basically a more conditional Gogma. It gives plus 2000, but because of our eggs, that really never comes up, but it's still power boosting, which we need. So that just as a one-off. Then moving into the level 6s, we have I'll go over this guy first, the main meat and potatoes, the promo BlackWarGreymon. People have been saying like this card is underwhelming, and although the deck archetype is underwhelming, I still think this card is very good. So 11k DP, which is the biggest detriment, but we'll talk about that. 3 Digivolution cost, which obviously very nice. If you know me, you know that I extremely highly value having 3 over 4 as the Digivolution cost, since most of the times you'll be starting your turns with 3 if you're running the proper tamers, which I think most decks should be. And the only effect is that main, you can Digiburst 2 and unsuspend this Digimon. And it's nice because unlike what's his face? Unlike Ulforce, BlackWarGrey is actually suspended when it's attacking, so it doesn't die to stuff like Trump Sword, which is obviously a bit of a niche scenario, but does come up. So actually, let me go over this first before we talk about stacks. So the other, because obviously for level 6 is extremely low, the other level 6 we're running is the BT5 BlackWarGreymon at 2 copies, so 12k DP, so more, which is nice, but Digivolution cost also bumped up by 1, which obviously hurts it. Honestly hurts this card extremely badly. And then it just has security at +1 and reboot, so a pretty good card, a really vanilla card, but without being a vanilla, but it's still really good. It's a baby Ragnarlord basically, but obviously Ragnarlord is good, so it doesn't matter being a baby. And then we are running 2 level 7s. This you can play around with. You can run 2 of either one of these, or you can run 1/1. They come up basically an equal amount to me, so that's why I'm still running them both as a one-off. So we're running 1 Ultra S while Digivolving. When Digivolving, all of your opponent's Digimon Digivolve 1, and then afterwards you destroy all of your opponent's Digimon 5000 DP or less. And when attacking, you cannot be blocked this turn by returning a level 6 Digimon from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to your hand. Basically, This is a finisher after you swing for all of your opponent's security. Usually this happens more with the BT5 BlackWarGrey. You swing for all of that, then you mess with their board with the Digivolution effect, and then for the next turn they have to deal with this, or you just have an unblockable swing for the game. Obviously, being 15k, this also is nice to get from security. And then Chaosmon has piercing, and when digivolving you unsuspend this Digimon and it can then attack an opponent's Digimon. Unfortunately, it's not Blitz. If Black had access to Blitz, that would be incredible for this deck, but this can't finish the game, obviously, even if they have 0 security. But there are quite a few scenarios where your opponent is left with a few security, or maybe 1 or 2 security because of blockers and stuff. So this is nice to get rid of those, and then once again for the next turn you have a swing. Obviously it's not blockable, but this can also work as removal. So these, like I said, you can play around with the ratios, see what works best for you. For me, they come up basically an equal amount, so that's why I run them at 1 and 1. Also, Ultrest, still expensive as hell, so I only have 1 IRL, so that's why. Part of the reason why I only run 1, but I am not lying when I say that Chaosmon also comes up quite a bit. Then the win condition of the deck, Final Zubicon Punch. So 2-cost option card, when it pops up in security, it gets added to your hand, and one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn, and after that it checks to see if your Digimon has 16k DP or more, and if it does, it gets blocker, reboot, and security attack +1 as well until the end of their next turn. And this 16k here is the important part, because obviously this is for Blastmon, who innately has 13k, so you can just give him this and boom, he's 16k. But for the BlackWarGreymon line, we need to jump through some hoops, which I'll be talking about. Then for our tamers, we're running 2 Izzy Zumi, so it's a memory tamer. And also on play, reveal top 3 of your deck, and if all of them are black, you gain 1 memory, so it only costs 3. And then you place remaining cards on the top of your, you place the 3 cards on the top of your deck in any order. So basically, you brainstorm your top 3, which obviously for a deck where we're often looking for specific cards is nice. You know what you'll be drawing the next 3 times, and you can set up your draws. So definitely the best memory tamer to run. And then we're running 1 Marcus Daemon, because I think 3 Izzy didn't do enough for me. So I 3 in 1 Marcus instead. He's also a memory tamer. And then when one of your Digimon with the Greymon its name attacks, you may suspend the tamer to gain 1 memory. So this can help us start turns, or not start turns with 4 memory, but have access to 4 memory, which obviously can come up quite a bit, since with that we can go straight from a Digitama into Rookie, then into a Champion for 1, then we can go into an Ultimate for 3, and then we actually get our Mega as well to pass the turn. So that does come up, but I would still rather obviously start the turn with more memory, which is why we'll talk about a card to replace Marcus Daemon when BT6 rolls around. And then finally the tech card, running 2 starter deck Taikamiya. Well, all of your Digimon get plus 1000 DP, and that's it. And that is important because BlackWarGreymon only has 11k and Zubicon Punch requires you to have 13k. But now let's briefly talk about the stacks to end it. Before we end it, and after the stacks, I'll briefly talk about the BT6 cards. So for BlackWarGreymon, the promo, the stack that you need to have under him needs to give him 2000 power, or you need to have a ties on board. The reason why we're running ties is to more easily, we can just drop tie in early turns and then not worry about it, and we can boost him more easily to Super 1 punch levels. But Gagumamon obviously helps with the 1000. He gives Black Gagumon helps if you have a toy Agumon, and Then after you have your stack set up, so you can Zubagon punch. When you punch with BlackWarGreymon, let's say you have literally 0 more security attacks. So let's say you have like Kapurumon, Toyagumon, one of your level 4s, and then like Gogma, and you Zubagon punch, then you're obviously at +1. You swing, you detach. Obviously, you always want to detach your level 4s, obviously, since they have no inherits. And then let's detach Kapurumon. That swings for 2 damage. You swing again for another 2 damage. You restand, and then you Digiburst with the Digiburst, and you swing once more for 2 damage. So you basically always, with Zubagon punch, you're swinging for all security. But when you're swinging with BlackWarGreymon promo, you would basically always want to have a security attack +2 at least. Because with security attack +2, you can obviously just win the game. Unless you die to security or they have blockers. And even if they have blockers, that's where Sonarizumon comes in clutch, which is why he's so incredible. But if you have 2 security attack +1s, let's say you have a Kapurumon, Toyago, once again, this doesn't matter, and then Metal Gray, that way you would only be getting 1,000 from the Kapuri. So with that stack, you would need Taikamiya. Alternatively, you can have Gogmamon instead. You can have Kapurumon, Gogmamon, and actually no, you can't because you need the reboot. Sorry, I was starting to think of the BlackWarGreymon, my bad. But yeah, basically you need Toyago under there to activate Kapurumon. So after you get +2 security attack though, you can then swing once for 3 damage. And then you can detach your level 4 and then 1 source that gives you security attack +1. Because obviously you don't need 3 more checks. Unless you're facing a deck that runs stuff like Holy Waves or Tactical Retreats, and those come up into security. So you swing for 3, you restand by detaching 2, then you swing for 2, then you detach the remaining 2, and then you swing for a game. So without blockers, BlackWarGreymon promo can just finish games by himself, which is why the deck has some really explosive potential. And BlackWarG promo is much more flexible. With the BT5 BlackWarGrey, you basically always need the same stack, because he only swings once. So you obviously have Kapurumon under there, so that already gives him 13k, which is why it's nice to run just these Kapurumons. That way for BlackWarGrey you always have Zubagon punch online. Then Sonarizumon adds another security attack, so now you're at +2. Level 4 doesn't matter. Then obviously Metal Greymon, you're at +3, and Zubagon punch adds the +4. Obviously, unless you have Tsunari promo on the board, then blockers just say, okay, we deny all 5 damage. So that's, once again, you need Tsunari, man. But that way, a BlackWarGrey can swing for all 5 checks. That is, once again, given that it survives. But basically, like, you're looking for quite specific stacks with the deck. So unlike Ulforce, where you need to set up your tamers, this deck sets up with specific stacks, which obviously, unfortunately, adds the inconsistency. But when it works, it's super fun. Now, as conclusive thoughts, is the deck good? It's fine. It's definitely not meta warping, and it's more of a gimmick. But if you like Ulforce or enjoy that type of playstyle, I think you'll enjoy this deck as well. And I definitely have been having a ton of fun with it. It's still one of my favorite decks to play, although like I said, it has consistency issues. But you know, we're playing Digimon, we're used to consistency issues thanks to the leveling system. But now, to end it all off, let me talk about 2 cards from BT6 that I think will be relevant when it comes to this deck. And the first one is another extremely good rookie that we're getting in BT6, Chikurumon. So it has nothing on board, no inherits. The only effect is that in security, you trigger Digimon 1. on one of your opponent's Digimon. This makes it that you actually don't feel bad in seeing rookies in your security. And this is definitely something that I think I will replace Sonarzamons with, and even potentially drop Gatsu down to 2 to have a third Chikuri in there. Just because if your opponent is like just playing regularly and okay, I'll just swing now and then afterwards play my stuff and pass, you can actually mess up their plans. You can digivolve the attacking one if they want to be digivolving on that for the case of like Paildra, Imperial stuff. Or a situation that actually has come up in testing for BT6 and it feels really good is that they have a blocker on the board and they swing with their big dude. And you digivolve the blocker actually, and then they don't have a blocker in their hand and they're like, well, I'm just dead on the crackback, So Chikurimon, definitely a really good card. And then the other card and the replacement for Market Damon that I wanted to talk about is Izzy Joe, Dual Tamer from BT6. So start of turn, if your opponent has 2 or more Digimon excuse me, in play, gain 2 memory. This deck has very limited access to removal and it's basically just a race like, okay, are you gonna kill me before I kill you? And then during your opponent's turn, one of your black Digimon is deleted, you must spend Tamer to draw 1. So 2 really good effects. First, the start of turn, along with a memory tamer, obviously gives us 5 memory to start with, and the 4 is the magic number that we're looking for. So that is super nice to have. And then the other one is also nice, since if we can't kill our opponents on a single turn and then we just play something, there's a very good chance that they'll be dealing with our Digimon. If they deal with our board even, we get some recovery and we can then build back up much faster and more efficiently and more consistently. I would love to be able, like, I've tried running 2 Izzy and then 2 of this Dual Tamer, but it's super hard to find space and I always seem to find myself bricking if I do that. So I think 2 Izzy and then 1 of Izzy Joe is the way to go. But those are basically the BT6 cards to look out for in this deck. Obviously there are many more good cards in BT6, but those I don't feel are as relevant to this deck as those. Blah! And that is that. That is my BT5 BlackWarGreymon deck profile, and sorry that it was so hectic, because like I said in the past, I don't like scripting videos. I'm just talking from the top of my head, so sometimes my mind just wanders and I get lost into sauce and don't really know what I was saying. So apologies in that. That is something I am trying to improve on for the future. But that has been the video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Thanks for watching. And definitely I'll be making many more. I have many more deck profiles. I think, obviously not all of them are for this format, but I think I have like I have made literally, it's like 49 or 50 total Digimon decks. Some are outdated, some are decks that I just played for a few games and didn't like the game playoff and was like, I don't really care about these. So I definitely won't be having that many deck profiles, but I definitely have a ton of decks that I want to talk about. So if you're interested in seeing more deck profiles, definitely sub to the channel. And I think this is my first time ever actually saying this. Click the bell. But that is obviously all up to you. But like I said, thanks for checking out the video, checking out the deck profile, and I wish you the best of luck in your games, and may your bricky hands be as few as possible. There will be some, but hopefully not as many as the other players. Anyways, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video, and after all this a very lengthy outro, peace.